All right, welcome everybody. Let's see. So the Forgotten Battles. I'm having a look at sort of the opening moves, what can happen, what can't happen, where it can happen, and I wanted to have a look at how the rules for the fronts in offensive and regroup postures, how that impacts the gameplay of this rather large and substantial, as you can see. So game. So here's the deal from what I can gather and I recall from how this has worked before, is when I am in the regrouping mode, which is this mode here. I've got once I've completed an offensive operation, I go into regrouping mode. I have to sit in that mode for 3 turns, and at the end of that, this chit at a certain point in time can be flipped over. It can be one of 2 that are active and in offensive mode, if that's what we're going to call that, offensive posture. And then you're off to the races with combat and all the rest of it, and you can use air and arty and all sorts of fun stuff. Now, in regrouping mode, you cannot conduct any air barrages or anything like that. You can only spend 2 SP on combat, supply points in combat, and you have some other restrictions as well. Most of the impact of being in regrouping mode is actually significantly beneficial to you on the defense. What it does to the opposing player is if you come in to attack a front that is in regrouping mode, you automatically, it forces the defender to be their AR to be upped by 1. It allows multiple barrages to occur with 16 strength against all of the attackers, and basically it's an incentive for your enemy not to attack you in regrouping mode. You would be really pretty dumb to try and do that. I think we will test that out, but I don't believe that's a good idea. The other thing is that in every group, every front, I should say, you must have 3 HQs, and you've got to have a certain number of artillery and KD brigades and stuff like that, or KD divisions, whatever they are. You've got to have those in place, and that's going to be at all times. So there's that. Now, the rest of the time, everything plays normally. The units can move and all this sort of good stuff, but you've got these markers that have a 10 hex range. And that actually looks more than 10 hexes, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, that's way off the base. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I wonder how I did that. Somewhere up there. That is why that marker was probably there earlier on. Okay, so let me just zoom out a little bit here so you can see the rest of the map. Anyway, my point is you've got these front markers and boundaries, and the HQs have to be within the boundaries, but any of these units here, for instance now, they're not inside the front boundary, but they are within trace distance of these HQs. That's going to mean that they're okay to be moved and supplied and all that sort of stuff. And let me just actually check that and confirm that it's trace distance. Oh, by the way, before I forget, you also don't have to pay for supply for. You don't have to pay supply for the defensive actions that you run when you're in regroup mode as well. And so now I'm just still trying to find these the information that I'm looking for what you're allowed to do. Hang on. Okay, I got it here. Yep. Units are free to move across front boundaries as long as these various minimums are maintained. So that's kind of the deal. Now, it's one other thing I wanted to reference as well. So for these 2 fronts here, they're currently out of they're in their regroup mode, so they're not really looking to be offensive. But what I need to be thinking about as I look at what's going on at the other end of the battlefield, all the way down there on the south end of the map, these attacks the attacks down at the other end and those offensives at the other end are going to wrap up, and so we need to be pre-positioning supply up here as well as feeding the offenses down at the other end of the map, so that we can effectively kick off an offensive up here. So what have I done? First Baltic has put, let me see if I can get you in frame here, so you can see the white cross right there. We're positioning units so that we can execute a special artillery barrage at the opening stages of the offensive, and we're going to be able to target probably 3 hexes in here that will give a very powerful attack. That won't use any supply, so that's a big benefit. We're also going to receive 3 penal battalions that we'll be able to use to kind of have use as kind of cannon fodder to absorb losses to keep the formations in shape. So I've begun to pre-position not only supply, but also units up in the First Baltic front. And I'm looking at doing similar things in the Western front. You can see that here in frame. So now down here, I believe I was looking at this area here as a potential breakthrough point, but then also in and around here, there might be an opportunity to try and bust through to Orsha. I don't know if that's viable. The second, so that was the main candidate, was down in this area down here. So that's what's going on. That all I've done so far is jiggle some units around to get things in position so that these 2 regrouping fronts are able to be effective once they're activated for offense. There's a timing thing that has to happen here, both in the reinforcement phase. So that's important to take care of and make sure you get that right. We're going to wrap the video up here, but I just wanted to share that with you so that you got a sort of a little bit of an insight. I know that was kind of a hackneyed explanation, but our first term with it, we'll talk more about this once we get some experience with it and offer some thoughts and opinions on how effective or useful this is, and how it aids gameplay and the speed of gameplay. That's where I think this will have potentially the most value. Excuse me, because let me see if I can zoom out here a little bit and I'll show you something real quick. Whoa, camera, easy there. Inside this front, I can pull right here. I can pull from First Baltic Front HQ. I can pull supply for these guys and then throw out to my forces. I can just deposit my SP to these chaps, and that simplifies things, that reduces the number of trucks I'm going to need to use to manage the entire front. We can also, depending on where they are, deposit into Army and other sized HQs, SP as well. So we'll kind of go with things from there. We'll get some gameplay under our belts. I'm going to go next. We'll do a quick little video and have a look at the 2 southern offensive fronts and see what's going on with them. All right, talk to you guys soon.